Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are taking a look at a question that has been bugging me since the end of Chapter 3 of Kaiju number 8. Why didn't Kafka sense the approaching Kaiju number 10 before they attacked the base? Now, surprisingly, there is a very simple answer to that question that can be shown from just one panel in Chapter 19 and can be proved by just 3 panels. It can be shown in, and the creators made sure to put those 3 panels right next to each other, going into great detail. However, that answer just opens up a huge can of other regenerative worm-like questions that all circle around one point. How exactly does the body sharing work between Kafka and Kaiju number 8? Now, before I go on and get into all the evidence for my question, in which there will be many spoilers for the series, we will take a moment to step back and give you something to fill the void in our minds left by the absence of our weekly Kaiju action. So, follow the link below to the video of Humans Are Weird. I have the data. Monty Python meets Star Trek in a book of human absurdity. Something to make you keep your mind busy chuckling while we wait for the next chapter. So, why didn't Kafka Hibino detect the approaching Kaiju number 10 at the end of chapter 23? It might have been range. Kaiju number 10 was 3,000 meters overhead. That's around 10,000 feet. So nigh on 2 miles up there. That could have simply been out of whatever Kaiju number 8's range was. Another idea I toyed with was that Kaiju number 10 was somehow in touch with Kaiju number 9 and had learned of Kaiju number 8's detection ability and his tendency to protect humans and to be found around the 3rd Division. Thus, Kaiju number 10 would be cloaking himself in a way similar to what Kaiju number 9 had done. Or it might even be as simple as that Kafka was riding so high on the praise from Vice Captain Hoshino that Kafka was just too distracted to notice the incoming Kaiju. As I said, I was bouncing these options around in my brain, taking notes on them, when I realized that I had never actually seen Kafka use his detection ability outside of a full transformation. So I did a quick reread, and sure enough, not only was that the case, but the concept was recapped neatly at the beginning of Chapter 18, with a combo image showing 3 times that Kaiju number 8 had detected incoming Kaiju, and in each one he was fully transformed. Then the very next panel has him halfway into the transformation and telling Shinomiya that he should be able to detect it if it's the same humanoid Kaiju that she fought. Should be able to. That is a future conditional tense, meaning that he can't do it now while he is in the process of transforming, but he should be able to do it later when he is fully transformed. This, on a side note, this also implies that he might be unable to sense other non-humanoid Kaiju. However, the main point is clear. Kafka can't use his detecting skills until he is fully transformed. That does make perfect sense, but it implies several more things. Whatever organ or system of organs allows Kaiju number 8 to detect other Kaiju isn't there when Kafka is transformed into a human. This means that Kafka's Kaiju parts aren't just hidden when he is human, they actually aren't there. The question becomes, where do the Kaiju sensing parts go? Which raises hosts of other similar questions, but the main one is this. Where does Kaiju number 8's mass go when Kafka is human? Let's look at some more examples. Kafka's human body is still following the normal biological rules. He was nearly dead last in the fitness test, and he spoke of having lost a lot of weight despite having a full-on dad bod, and implied that he worked really hard to do that. When he is injured, his body takes the usual human amount of time to heal. When his vital signs are being monitored, he shows nothing that would seem odd to the Defense Force people monitoring him until he starts to transform. Moreover, almost nothing that happens to one body affects the other body. Injuries that he sustains in his human body do not have any effect on Kaiju number 8's body. After each transformation, his human body still has the same number of broken ribs and bruises that it did before. Likewise, injuries that he sustains as Kaiju number 8 don't affect his human form. Very luckily for him, as Vice Captain Hoshino sliced and diced off several dozen limbs in the course of their fight. Now, this other direction, the injuries that he sustains as Kaiju number 8 not affecting his human body, might be because Kaiju number 8 can regenerate so quickly that there are no injuries to carry over. But as the human body is still carrying the injuries from before the transformation, and they haven't been healed by transforming into Kaiju number 8, I doubt very much that what happens to one body has much of an effect at all on what happens to the other body. In fact, the only physical effect that the bodies seem to share is energy use. constantly regenerating in his fight with Vice Captain Hoshino left Kafka deeply fatigued and barely able to stagger back to Shinomiya. On that same note, Kafka retains the memories of his actions as Kaiju number 8, so at the very least that implies that there are tiny physical changes going on in his brain, if nowhere else in his body. That might be just the information transferring from one body to the other, but that implies that his human body is just somehow watching what happens to the Kaiju number 8 body, and the question then becomes, watching from where? Be that as it may, I think that this points to one interesting theory. You see, Kaiju number 8 is the type of manga that likes to take science at least somewhat seriously. It has characters damaging buildings, cars, and even the ground itself when they use super strength. This is not just with missed attacks either. When Kaiju number 8 punches another Kaiju to pieces, you will note that the foot he uses to brace the action off of leaves a dent in the concrete it was braced on. It costs energy for the Kaiju to regenerate. This is a manga that respects the laws of nature to the best of its ability. So that makes the biggest question, where does Kaiju number 8's mass go when he transforms? Now remember, one of the most fundamental laws of the universe is matter cannot be created or destroyed. And Kaiju number 8 is much more massive than Casca, even with the addition of the bug Kaiju that started this. And if you remembered back to the first chapter, before Kafka got in control of the body, Kaiju number 8 was growing and shrinking in ridiculous patterns. The extra mass had to have come from somewhere, and it has to go back to that place every time that Kafka transforms. I think there is a clue in how Vice Captain Hoshino described the history of the giant fungus kaiju in Kafka's first real battle. He said that it emerged in a trench in the ocean. Emerged from where? It might be simply it emerged from some kind of egg. Perhaps there is a kind of kaiju ecosystem living down in the trenches of this earth. However, it might be that the kaiju emerged from the same place the Kaiju number 8's body came from and goes back to. Now, if the Kaiju number 8 transformation works like this, if it comes from this, we'll call it a kaiju reality, and returns there, that would explain everything we have seen so far. That would mean that the insect kaiju acts as some kind of receiver or a reality anchor, allowing the Kaiju number 8 body to take the place, seemingly cell by cell, of Kafka Hibino's body. Because Kafka can transform various parts of his body, and he'd almost literally have to transform it cell by cell to avoid tearing his body apart when he did that. So what we have here is two bodies that for now share a mind, with only energy and information able to travel between the bodies. That raises so many more questions. The first and most obvious, and yet the one that most of the fandom seems to have lost sight of, is why? Another question would be, does the Kaiju number 8 body have its own mind off there in the Kaiju reality? Is there some extremely perplexed humanoid Kaiju in that reality that for some reason transforms into a human every so often, only to be exhausted after he transforms back? If Kaiju number 8 does have a mind of its own, is there a chance that that mind could reclaim control of the Kaiju number 8 body? Or worse, to claim control of Kafka's human body? So, what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Is Kaiju number 8 its own being off in a Kaiju reality? Does this Kaiju number 8 go to a Kaiju doctor and wonder where his limbs have been going? Because it looks like he's been regenerating his limbs frantically, but he's pretty sure he hasn't lost any limbs. Well, will that being take over Kafka at some point? I'd like to hear your theories, so leave a comment below, hit the like button, and click that subscribe button. Check out the link below the video for something to read while we wait for the next chapter. Humans are weird, I have the data. Monty Python meets Star Trek in this book of human absurdity. Peace out, my wonderful viewers.